Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Ashby and call me Hooby, and recently I've been thinking a lot about creating this challenge. I've actually been thinking about and planning it for months. Then Hercule 3.0 got announced and I discovered that quite a few of the prompts that I'd created were used in that or even in previous Hercules, and I had no idea. Then I thought, hey, it's fine. This challenge has specifically been made so that it could be used for reading or watching, whether TV or films. And there was so much discussion in the Hercules Discord server for people who are doing that with the Hercules prompts that I don't know, I felt derivative somehow. It definitely showed me that there are no original ideas. But I've been really enjoying challenges, and I know that other people enjoy different types of challenges. And some people find a deadline on them to be too much pressure. So I'm doing it. I'm announcing the slow challenge. I'll start off by saying that obviously the main thing about this is it can take you as long as it takes you. It's fun to just tick things off, and that's what this is. I'm hoping it will help people out of slumps this way. First, it gives you an idea of what to read or watch, and then you get the dopamine rush of ticking off a thing. There are a few ways throughout that you can make it more difficult for yourself if you want, but I'll get to that when I get to it. One example is that if you're doing the watching challenge with TV shows, you can decide whether to make it so you have to watch one episode of something that massively fits the challenge, or whether you have to watch a whole series or the whole show. There's also a rule that allows rereads and rewatches, but preferably not counting the same one multiple times for the challenge. However, I'm definitely not going to be mad if you decide that it's been a year or 2 years or whatever number you want to put onto it since you read or watched the thing for the challenge, that you can use it again for another one. The rule is mostly in place so you can't find a piece of media that fits multiple prompts and just consume it twice in quick succession. It's meant to be slow. Speeding up a little bit is fine, but a lot really goes against the point. And yes, battered listeners, that does mean that each piece of media can be used once. In case it's not clear, this is also designed so you do books or films or TV shows, or you can mix it up if you'd rather. And when I say books, I'm counting fiction, non-fiction, graphic novels, even fan fiction. I'm not policing anyone's reading or watching. I have friends who don't read at all, friends who love binge watching TV shows, and friends who mostly read fan fiction, and I just really want to be as inclusive as possible. And if you can find a way to do this with playing games, I am totally on board. Accidentally on purpose pun there. I wasn't expecting to do that. You can also choose to backdate your challenge if you keep track of what you consume already in another format. Just please make sure you put down what date you consumed the first if you are looking to see how long it takes you, as I am. Now onto the finer details. I've actually created 2 9-square bingo boards. I had originally created 1, although I had also accidentally created more than 9 squares originally and cut some. Specifically numerical titles, as it was announced as a prompt from Hercule 3.0 and was the one I was least attached to. It doesn't appear on either bingo card. However, I am only going to be talking about one bingo card in this video. The idea is that you can do both at once, or do one then the other, or choose which one you want to do. I personally will be doing both alongside each other as if they are one challenge. I will though wait until the second one is announced before starting it, as I have waited for this to be announced to start this one. I already have the advantage of knowing what's on it. I don't need anything further, even though this isn't a competition, and as I've said, you can backdate it, so it just feels wrong to me still. The second bingo card is also more fleshed out, and I was going to wait until 3 or 6 months after this video to release it. but I've gotten so excited about it that it's coming along really nicely, and it might even be ready by the time that this video is out. Not sure. Anyway, hopefully that'll come out either later this month or next month. Each square in the bingo board has its own prompts within. The second bingo card is more fleshed out, so that each square, by the time it's released, will have 6 or 9 prompts, depending on whether you're doing the regular version or the expanded version. This board is a little less fleshed out, and there are a couple of squares that are fewer and one square that is more, but I was too excited to wait, and I think it's decent as it is. Also, one of those squares was specifically mentioned in the Herkid Discord, and people were interested in it, so that's why I'm not just swapping the order of the boards. You're also welcome to add more to the smaller squares if you want a greater challenge. On to the prompts. The first square is modes of transport. 6 different modes of transport in here, and I'll start with train as an example for how all the prompts will work. It is heavily customizable. Ideally, you want whatever you read, watch or play to fit the prompt as much as possible. For example, the Midnight Train would fit this perfectly. It's got train in the title, train on the cover, and if the Midnight Library is anything to go by, the train is a elusive part of the plot. Bullet Train would be a great film option for this. Murder on the Orient Express, also a great fit. Then to go to the lesser fitting ones, I'd say the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe wouldn't really fit. Yes, they get on a train, and without getting on the train, the plot wouldn't happen, but it's not a plot point or anything like that. However, the Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, arguably the train is there for potentially less time, but it's a much bigger part of it, and I personally would count it. Well, actually, I would count it, and then if I read or watched something that fits the prompt better, I'd swap it out. But hopefully the point is made. The other modes of transport for this prompt are car, plane, bus, walking, and boat/ship. I'm saying boat/ship, so there's no confusion or argument about whether it counts or not. For expanded, the additional ones are running, bike, and spaceship. I'll add here that if you don't want to do expanded but prefer some of the expanded prompts, feel free to swap them around. You could also choose to do expanded on some prompts but not others. As I said, heavily customizable. The second square is this or that. We have these squares for dead or alive. I'm mostly picturing this in the title, but also different versions of the words are allowed. Died, living, that sort of thing. Then we have love and hate. Again, loving, lover, hatred, all fine. Then night and day, which kind of just have to be night or day, but compound words like daylight are fine. It's also customizable to be harder, of course, by not allowing yourself to use different versions of the words. You could also totally go by vibes if you'd prefer something set entirely at night, for example. For expanded version, I've added good and evil, as well as a single square that's this or that, which just means that one of them has to be in the title. Thirdly, we have alliterative. Now this sort of came out in Herkid 3.0 as well, but luckily for me, I had it in a different way. Alliterative authors if you're reading, actors, directors, producers, etc. if you're watching something. For gaming, it could be anyone involved in the creation of it, or even the publishing company. I'm happy to ignore middle initials. For example, BK Borison is BB if you ignore her middle name, so can count. Technically, I'd prefer all different, but as this is 6 or 9 squares, that might be a little difficult. I haven't really checked myself, so it's fine if not. I only suggest that they're not all the same series. For example, Ryan Reynolds can appear multiple times, but he can't be playing Deadpool more than once. The 4 square is kind of funny because it's shapes. In the Herkid Discord server, someone suggests this as a prompt, and that basically led to me actually doing this after thinking about it for months. As I said, I'd been thinking about it for my own challenge, and here we are. The 4 shapes I've chosen are circle, square, triangle, and heart. Obviously, this isn't an exhaustive list, and again, can be in the name, on the cover, or even just a vibe. I'm not sure how difficult triangle is going to be, for example. So if the book or film or what have you mostly revolves around a love triangle, it counts. For expanded, I've added pentagon and cross. That could be a T-shaped cross or an X-shaped cross. If you want to make it harder for yourself and add more shapes, go for it. We're already halfway there and on to square number 5. If you see my videos about Hercule 3.0, you'll know that I was apprehensive about this being derivative in a different context. It's colours. These should probably be in the title of the media, but you can pick any shade of them. Sure, you can, again, go hard mode and do it so it has to be the actual colour itself, but I like the idea of shades. You could also do it so they all have to be shades, of course. The colours I chose are red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple. And for the expanded, I chose pink, black and white. 6th square is celestial bodies. Finally one that I don't think has been done for Hercule at all. The 4 bodies I've chosen are sun, moon, star and planet. Probably in the title, and planet can be the name of an actual planet rather than the word planet. By the way, when I say preferably in the title, if you're doing TV show, it can be the title of the episode, or just ignore that I said that because that probably makes it a heck of a lot harder. For expanded, I added galaxy and universe, which aren't technically celestial bodies, but fit the prompt enough for me. 7 of 9 is a little different. It's the only square that has its own squares, but you can totally ignore some if you want. Let me explain. The main square is called times. Then within that square, there are seasons, times of day, days, and months. You can choose to do spring, summer, autumn, and winter, or you can choose to do a season, similar to the rest of these. The times of day I've chosen are sunrise, dawn, twilight, and midnight, though I am questioning those, and you can definitely pick your own using that as a guide of what I mean. Again, you can just choose one if you don't want to do the squares within the squares for this prompt. You can also add more if you wish. I didn't even for expanded because the square's already so big and complicated. Then there's days of the week. I don't know how many things there are with days of the week in them, especially if we're talking about titles. Honestly, if Groundhog Day says what day of the week it is in it, I'd say that counts. I'm probably going to keep track of everything I read and watch that says a day of the week in it, but I don't know if all 7 really exist for this to be an easy square. Even if you're doing the full amount for seasons and times of day, allow yourself to choose to not do all 7 days of the week. Same thing goes with the next one, which is months of the year. I do think characters' names should count for this too. Perhaps something with Wednesday Addams or Ruby Sunday, or starring January Jones, or maybe deities / people the days of the week and months are named after. I also considered doing holidays as a section in this square, but I like the idea of having the option of using a holiday that takes place in a certain month as the way to use that month instead of specifically having the name of the month in the title. So long as the name of the holiday is in it, you don't have to abide by the holiday name being in the title. That's a me thing. I also didn't want to sort of end up making people of different religions read or watch holidays they don't celebrate. Feel free to add a holiday square to yours if you'd like though, or fully swap out the months, whatever. As I said, heavily customizable. Square 8 is called royalty. I consider making this more open and just doing things that relate to royalty, and I might still do that. But I have 6 prompts on this one that do have specific words on. Really feel free to use them as guides rather than set in stone. I have prince, princess, queen, king, kingdom and crown. For expanded, I added lord, lady and throne. But if you read or watch something with a duke or count in it, for example, feel free to swap one out. I'm probably going to do this specifically as word in the title for reading. Not sure about watching or gaming yet. Now this final square is a little different again. It has 2 options. Basically, I want to do a square that had different fancy creatures in, which, yes, I have discovered was a prompt in a previous Hercule, but I'm aware that not everyone enjoys fantasy. I was thinking that I'd say something like, if you don't like fantasy, please don't force yourself. Maybe read or watch one thing that has as many of these possible and count that as ticked off. But I've decided to do a different option of animals. If you do like fantasy, you can feel free to do both if you'd like. Both have 6 different ones. For me, I think they just need to feature in the story and not be in the title or on the cover, but it's up to you how to interpret it. The fantasy creatures are vampire, centaur, mermaid, werewolf/shifter, unicorn, and witch/wizard/whatever other name they use for spellcaster. The expanded version adds ghost, dragon, and deity. For something like vampire, a story about vampires would be good. For something less common like a centaur, just heavily featured or a named character is fine. If centaur ends up being super difficult, you can count a satyr or a faun instead. The animals I've chosen are cat, dog, horse, something farmyard that isn't a cat, dog or horse, something found in a zoo, which I'm aware changes based on country, and something aquatic that doesn't have to be a fish. The expanded version adds a rodent, an insect, and a reptile. Again, neither of these lists are exhaustive, and you can feel free to add your own or change them about a bit if you prefer. I wanted to restrict each square to 6 maximum, or 9 for expanded, and had already broken that on the Times Square, so definitely didn't want to break it again. So that is all 9 squares, but as I've said, I do have a bunch of other ideas and another bingo board on the way if that's not enough for you. I'm planning on making a Google Sheets edit for this, as I know that's the easiest way to share this sort of challenge, as well as a story graph. They'll be in the description if so. The Google Sheets you'll have to save in your own Google Sheets to edit. I'm also going to add some channels to my Discord server for people to talk about it, so I will put a link to that in the description as well. Please let me know if you're planning on doing this, which version you'll be going for. Personally, I've already made graphics for books, films, TV shows, games, and even YouTube. Why the heck not? I'm intrigued. I even thought about doing it for sewing or maybe crafting in general, but feel like that might be a touch far? Still not sure. Thank you for watching. If you want to, please like and subscribe, and maybe we'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.